God brings people around us for a reason and not a mistake. That's what I have for us today. But just before I go on, last week I talked about what makes the rich great. Today I have something different, but I'll just like to add to what I talked about the last time. And if you haven't watched the video on what makes the rich great, I will encourage you, if you're watching on YouTube, you will definitely see a link up here or there. Come to think of it, the act of not giving, which is selfishness, it begins from the mind. And when you have a selfish mind, the truth is that it affects your real life. And when we actually give, we always think that we are losing, but it is a no. The act of not giving actually shows that our heart is fixed on the money and not God himself, which makes it bad not to engage in the act of giving. And just to chip into that, when we give, it brings this sense of joy, it brings this sense of fulfillment, and it brings love into the atmosphere. And for us, eternally as Christians, when we give, we are actually crediting into our accounts in heaven. We'll see what Jesus told the young rich ruler, that if he wants to become perfect, he should sell everything which he has and give to the poor. And once again, just as I said in the last video, there's a lot of things to be said about giving that can never be overemphasized. Mind you, giving shouldn't be something that is out of compulsion. It shouldn't be as a result of obligation or something, but let it come as a result of your cheerfulness. So when we don't engage in the act of giving, which makes us selfish, it shows that our heart, everything about us is fixed on the money or the material things, which is very wrong. Our heart should be fixed on God and should encourage us to give in, knowing that God is the one that owns everything and blesses us with everything which we have. So back to what I have for us today. God brings people into our lives for a reason and not a mistake. Sometimes when people walk into our life, it turns out sour, and sometimes it turns out to be a sweet relationship. And the first thing I would like us to know is that God is aware of everything that happens. Look at the person of the Lord Jesus Christ. He had Peter, he had Judas, and we know what happened with both parties. You could also look at the person of David, and you could see that he had Jonathan and he had Saul. King Saul turned out to be someone that wanted to kill him, but we saw Jonathan, he sought to help him. And I'm very sure we all have had some people like that has come with negativity into our lives, and sometimes some people come with that vibe of positivity. It might have been as a result of what we have caused by wrong decisions, but God permitted it all. Therefore, the encouragement is when people come into our life, we need to trust God, to love them no matter the kind of vibes, either negative or positivity they bring into our life. God has encouraged us to love our neighbor as ourselves. Jesus loved Judas as well as he loved every other disciples, and it all turned out for a reason which was best known to God. So when people come into our life, what we need to do is to learn, love, grow, forgive whether they wronged us or not, that we may do the will of God. So my message for us is that when people walk into our life, it's for a reason which is best known to God. And even if you thought it has been a mistake, God is able to bring something good out of it. All we need to do is just to trust God, love them, and learn as God is taking us through those processes. So God bless you and remain blessed.